Are you looking for a gift for your paranormal loving friend or family member?
Then check out our online store at our webpage at scprai.org.
We have t-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, and tote bags.
A portion of the proceeds go to funding our team and updating equipment. This is the South Carolina Paranormal Research and Investigations Podcast with your host, Paul
and Carolyn. We are a ghost hunting group that investigates the Palmetto State.
Welcome to the South Carolina Paranormal Research and Investigations Podcast. I'm your host, Paul.
And Carolyn.
And tonight we have Angie Smith. She's been on the team for about 8 years, and we're going to talk about some of her experiences and some of the stuff that she would like to speak about.
She's also one of our board members and team lead, so.
Yep. And she gets to handle all the money stuff. I don't have to worry about it. Yay.
Yay. I get to do that all day at work, and then I get to do it for you guys, so.
Yeah. I don't like dealing with numbers, so that's why it's your job. You can never leave the team, Angie.
I hear you.
Even when you die, we're going to have you doing this, so.
I'll haunt you and still take care of your money. Okay. Then I'll just take your money with me.
We'll do a seance. We'll do a seance. Okay, Angie.
Yes, Carolyn.
What got you into the paranormal?
Well, I think really my mom, who's also on the team. I don't know if you've had a podcast with her yet, but
not yet. It's coming.
Darlene, the case manager, is my mom. And when I was a child, I remember the story differently than she does. So I'm just going to tell the way I remember it. And then when she's on, she can tell how it really was. How's that?
Sounds good.
Of course, this is from the mind of a child, from something that occurred in my childhood. She had a really good friend, Robin. I call her my Aunt Robin. She's been on some of the team trips with us. That had bought an antebellum home in downtown Spartanburg. And at the time, I don't think Robin was married. I think she was a single lady. My mom, I think, had already remarried to my stepdad. And Robin was going to take the basement of that house because it was huge, and she was just living in the upstairs. She was going to turn the basement into like a daycare. And her and mom were going to run this daycare together. So I know that they were downstairs working, cleaning, painting, whatever for the daycare. And I remember vividly that my brother and my brother's 4 years younger than me, we were upstairs in Robin's bedroom because Robin had an Atari. And we were playing Atari. And Robin had a little dog. And I can so clearly still see that little dog scratching on the floor, like directly above where Mom and Robin would have been in the basement. And it wasn't much longer that I remember Mom and Robin came up and they got us and we all left. And that was all that was said, because like I say, I was probably 6. My brother was probably 2. So I'm sure they didn't say anything to us because they didn't want to scare us. And it wasn't until later in life that I found out that they had had a paranormal experience downstairs. That's where I think it gets questionable because I recall hearing somebody say that they had seen a man hanging there. Mm-hmm. And that when Robin had touched base with some of the previous owners of the house, that indeed the man that had lived there previously had hung himself in the house. Now, I think Mom's story is a little bit different, and she was the adult there. So like I say, I'll let her give the real story when she talks to you. But that's what, I just remember the way that they ran out of that house with me and Stephen that night. I knew something wasn't right, but I didn't know what. Mm-hmm. And then later, when I did find out, that they had had a paranormal experience, people might lie to you, but your parents you trust. You don't think that they're ever going to lie to you. So from that point going forward, I knew that there had to be something to the paranormal. And so I became interested in it. And I actually was working with a guy whose wife was on this team. And he and I were good friends. So he introduced me to his wife, who is Cindy, the director. And she got me started on the team. And I've been with the team ever since. So I guess it's been about 8 years, I think. 7 or 8. I lose track.
You're one. All I tell people is that you're one of the longest people that have stayed the longest. One of the longest. So.
Yeah. And especially, out of our current team, besides Cindy, I'm the second oldest one on the team, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Not just in age. So you can shut up.
I wasn't gonna say that. I was thinking. I didn't know.
I know what you're thinking.
I was sitting here thinking who was older, you or Sydney.
I really don't know.
So you might be the second oldest, but you've been on the team second longest.
That's correct.
Okay.
I'm definitely not the oldest on the team, especially since my mom is on the team.
I didn't say that, Darlene. I didn't say that.
I did, Mom.
I know one time I was on a case with you and I called you Mom because you said something to me. I was like, okay, Mom. And Darlene was like, you better not call me Grandma.
Yeah, we take age, pretty seriously.
Yeah.
Mom's the type that, when she first found out I was having a baby, Amanda, she was like, I am not going to be called grandma or grandmother or anything like that. So she became Mimi. And I thought it was funny at the time until my daughter came home pregnant at 18. And I'm like, I am not going to be called grandma or grandma.
So I am the same way.
Yeah.
What are you
I'm
called?
like, I am called Nana.
Nana? Okay.
She's Nana. I'm Gigi.
Yep.
And then we got my mom is Mimi. So
I'm never called. The only grandmother I remember, we called her Ma. So.
Well, I really wanted to be called Cuckoo, but Amanda wouldn't let me. Really,
Cuckoo?
Seriously, Kuku is Hawaiian for grandmother. I was looking up alternative names for grandma and came across that. And I was like, oh, that's cute. And really, I'm Cuckoo. So, it's perfect. And Amanda's like, I am not going to have my kid calling my mom Cuckoo. So that got shot down.
But it's, I would have said, but that's what I wanted. And I trump over you. So that's what I'm going to get called.
But I could totally see Amanda telling you that, though.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, what is one of your favorite places you've ever investigated, Angie?
Residential or public place?
Both. How about both?
Okay, both. Well, of course, Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, which I think is probably everybody's favorite on the team.
That's been
Maybe that will change after we go to St. Albans in May.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
I hope it will change because I would love to be able to say, oh, I have another place that's my favorite. But anyway, for years it's been Old South Pittsburgh. I've been there on 3 different occasions with the team now. So
yeah, I know that's one place I want to go back. I definitely want to see what the new owner has done when he's finished. So
absolutely. I mean, kudos to him for taking care of it. I just worry about the creep factor.
Yeah, because I don't think it's going to be as creepy as it was.
Exactly. I mean, like I say, there's a lot that needed to be taken care of in the building.
But on the other hand, with him doing all that reconstruction, it may stir up some stuff.
He's been
it may stir up some stuff, for sure.
He says on Facebook it is. It's very active right now, he says.
I can imagine. But, there was just something creepy about it looking decrepit,
Yeah, I know.
Mm-hmm.
Not that you have to have creepy looking places for any paranormal activity to occur, but it just adds to that creep factor,
I thought
absolutely.
I thought it was just cool to walk around and see what all was left there. Like you would find the most random stuff in there. In some places, you turn the corner and there was a car in the middle of the hallway,
or some stirrups for a gynecologist's office, huh?
That picture will not be put on any other social media that it already is.
We'll see.
That's right. If
you make a donation of $5 or more to SCPRAI, I will personally email that person the picture. How about that?
That's a good plan. That's what we should do.
We'll make it a fundraiser.
Doing that. We
$5.
should start doing that for all of our like really embarrassing photos. Like tell that person's friends, if you want this posted on social media, make a donation to the team and we'll post it.
I need $5 in the bank account, and I will personally email the person the embarrassing picture of me.
But there were a lot of cool things in there. I mean, not just medical things. I mean, of course, we saw X-ray machines and X-ray film and medical records and all that kind of stuff. But then remember in the downstairs, it's like they had like a variety thrift shop going on down there. I'm not exactly sure, but then we saw like marriage licenses and just power tools and I mean just crazy stuff. You never knew what you were going to run into.
You remember that one? It was an accident report that I read. Remember, it was like a cave-in nearby or something.
Wasn't it a mining?
Yeah, it was like a mine cave-in, and it was like some people died at the scene, some people died at the hospital. Yeah, it was like a whole report about it on paper, sitting on top of a filing cabinet, and I was reading it.
Yeah,
that's the kind of stuff. I know they want to clean it out, but that's the kind of stuff I hope they didn't throw out because that's like interesting.
Right, cool. And it's historical. Yeah. I mean, it has value to the place.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with you. I totally hope they leave some of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I understand wanting to get rid of the actual medical records because the HIPAA laws, I mean, were totally being violated.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Even after they got caught and it was on TV, we went there because there's a report where they went in there and someone was like, all these files are in here. And the woman's like, the only files are in here that are in this closet and they're locked. But we walked in there like 2 rooms and there was stacks of like insurance claims and stuff.
Right.
And as new as like 2017 with that doctor's name on it because he still had a doctor's office in town. Exactly. So he was storing his files in Old South Pittsburgh and anybody could get in there and find them.
I know, it's crazy. I mean, and I have to be honest though, I did look through them.
I did too. I thought they were old. I thought they were really old, which is still HIPAA law. But I was like, these things are dated 2000 and what? When did we go? It was like a year before or something like that. I found they were only like a year old.
Yeah, let's say we went in 2017.
Yeah, and I think we found some for like 16.
Yeah, I mean they weren't very old, and the hospital stopped operation. I'm wanting to say 1998.
Did you sneeze?
I don't know if those, if it was just being used for storage from somewhere else. But going back to Old South Pittsburgh being my favorite, I will say having been 3 times, the first time was absolutely the best because it's brand new to you and you don't know what's there. And so the first time I was more timid than I was any of the other times. Each time I went back, I had, a greater sense of familiarity with it. So it wasn't quite as scary for me.
That's how I am with Charleston Jail now. I've been there 4 times and I'm just like, I could sleep here.
I mean, you still love the place, but it's like you kind of lose some of the excitement. It's like the honeymoon period's over,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Definitely, yeah. Because because I had done the tour twice, and even when I went with Carolyn, even though I saw parts of it when we were investigating that we didn't see on the tours I had done in the past, I was kind of like, I already know where a lot of the stuff is in here.
Right.
Like there's a new section in here I didn't know about or didn't see, but other than that, because even when we went on the tour recently, they didn't show us the warden's quarters, which I don't know why they don't show the warden's quarters now, other than that. I guess because some of the stairs are iffy. I'm not sure.
Right. Could be a safety hazard.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
That, and they probably can't watch the whole bunch, and they've got them bones and artifacts in there too.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, there's a box of bones upstairs, which I think they said scientists have said it's animal bones, but psychics say it's human bones. I'm gonna have to go with the doctors on this one.
Yeah.
But
typically doctors know when they're looking at bones what type it is.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to go with that. I mean, maybe there's some small pieces of human in there, but I'm gonna have to go with the doctor because it's like a box of like broken up bones, like little tiny pieces.
Well, the thing is there too that when we went on this last tour, they say that everybody was buried in that area too, so it can't all be animals, especially when that used to be the cemetery.
Yeah.
Kind of, sort of.
Depends on how far down, I guess, that the bones are. But over time, they could still come resurface. But
right.
No.
That's still cool. I wish we'd have got to see it on the tour because I didn't get to see that.
Yeah, and you didn't get to go with us because you were in Germany.
Yes.
Yes.
So.
That's good.
What
That's
she
good.
said. I don't even know what you said, but what she said.
So that's good.
Yeah,
what does that mean?
Good. That's good.
That's good.
Okay.
See, it even kind of sounds like that, Paul. Come on, you can figure that one out.
Most German does. If you really stop and think about it, when you hear Germans talk, it does sound how it would in English.
Some of it.
Yeah, some of it.
Remember, I work for a German company, so
right.
there is a lot of that stuff there babbling off that I have no clue. It's nowhere near English. I'm quite sure they're talking about me, and I just don't know it.
Well, see, this is how you figure out, Angie. You download Google Translator on your phone, and you just let it rock.
Yeah, well, let me tell you about Google Translator and using it when you're actually in a foreign country.
Okay.
It doesn't always work quite so well. When we went, we downloaded it specifically for reading menus so that we would know what to order to eat. And so we were at a restaurant, and my friend Tracy put her phone up over the menu, and it just takes the words and puts them in English for you. And it said something about dead cow brain.
No.
Oh my goodness.
And I mean, I'm sure that's not how it's really, the translation, but that was the literal translation. And so we were laughing and cackling, going, well, I sure hope if, you're going to eat it is a dead cow's brain, But the German people that were with us were having the best time laughing at us because we're over there dying laughing at the fact that it's a dead cow's brain, So we just resorted to letting them explain to us what the food was.
That's probably what I would have done.
Yeah, it's much better because that Google Translate is going to give you the literal word translation, which does not always come out exactly how you want it to. But funny enough, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, what about your residential, Angie?
Residential. I've been on so many residential cases that it's really hard to pick a favorite. One was in Lugoff. So, Paul, I guess that's not too terribly far from you.
No.
And I'm still very good friends with the clients. But a lot of activity in the house. We actually were able, with our own ears, not voice recorder, but our own ears, hear what sounded like a little girl whistling. We were told about the client had grandchildren, so she had like a playroom with just toys just for them. And she was telling us that a lot of times those toys would, just go off in the middle of the night, even when the grandchildren weren't spending the night, so nobody in the room. So we had decided to do an EVP session in that room, and we were in there and we invited the clients to participate because, as you both know, a lot of times we'll get better responses if we actually have the clients there. The spirits know them, they live in the house with them, and we're strangers. So we like to invite the clients in with us. Right. So during the middle of the EVP session, my client's daughter, an adult daughter, was actually attacked and had to run out of the house. And so we went outside to check on her. We took photographs because, she could not breathe. And her entire face was just like red splotches. And down her neck, it was just crazy. So we took pictures of the before and after, effect of whatever had happened to her. I don't think it was anything that was intending to harm her. I think we had found its hiding spot because we had been in all the other rooms throughout the night and really hadn't gotten anything until we got in that last room. So I think that's where it had kind of been hiding out for the night. And I think when we got in there, we frightened it, and it was just trying to get out of the room. And she was between the door and it getting out. And I think as it just ran by, it gave some kind of an effect to her. So that was a really cool one. Oh, of course, one of my other favorite ones is in the Rock Hill area up near where you were living, Carolyn.
Uh-huh.
And it was an elderly client, and he was married. But the time we got to the house, I knew this was going to be a special case because his wife was like, okay, I'm going in my room. Y'all just do whatever y'all got to do. He's the one wanted y'all here. I want nothing to do with this. And so they had separate bedrooms. So she went in her bedroom, closed her door, and we never saw her again. So the gentleman was telling us that he had little elves that lived in his feet. And I thought,
my goodness.
Okay, yeah, this is crazy, right?
This is one of my favorite stories. I already know this one because I make her tell it to everybody.
Yeah. So he was telling us that these little elves would gnaw on his toenails in the middle of the night. And I thought, okay, this guy is just, crazy. Well, actually, I was thinking more along the lines of, he probably is just elderly and doesn't take very good care of his toenails. So he took his shoes off and showed us. And sure enough, his toenails were all jagged. But that doesn't tell me what's been gnawing on them or not. So he was telling me that he can tell when they're at his toes or when they're at his heels. So we got down with our K2 to detect EMF. And he said, oh, they're in my toes right now. So we put the K2 near his toes, and the K2 meter spiked all the way to red.
Oh.
So then we moved the K2 on around his foot to his heel. Absolutely no EMF coming out of his heel. So go back to his toe. Yep, it spiked to red again. This is crazy. So a few minutes later, he says, oh, they're going to my heel now. They're running to my heel. So I go back to his toes with the K2 where I had gotten the red spike earlier. Absolutely nothing there. So I move the K2 back to his heel where he says they are now. That's where it spikes to red.
Oh,
that's the most insane thing I've ever heard of.
Yeah,
because he
really
could sense
interesting.
wherever he felt them is where I would pick up K2.
And a person don't normally give off that either.
Right. So I was trying to find a way to debunk it. I'm trying to think scientifically. There's got to be some reasoning for this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing I could think of was maybe a pacemaker in somebody would send off electrical currents through their body. So I asked him if he has a pacemaker. Nope, he has no pacemaker. So then I also thought, because he was a veteran, possibly he had been wounded in the war and had been shot. Maybe he had some shrapnel in his body. And I don't even know if lead shrapnel would produce EMF, but I'm just throwing out anything I can to try to explain it.
Right.
But no, he had not been wounded. So I could not find any explanation for this. And to this day, I've not found any explanation for it. So that was probably the craziest thing I've ever experienced. In addition to that, he would be contorted during his sleep. And it had gotten to the point where he actually went and purchased like a home video security camera system.
Yeah.
And would have it record him sleeping all night long. And this man sent me hours after hours of video of him sleeping. And if you could just see the contorted positions this 80-something-year-old man was in his sleep, it was absolutely bizarre. So, I don't know. No clue. Never could, debunk anything there. I mean, never found any evidence, but never could debunk anything either. So.
Well, I think even with the EMF coming off of his feet, you kind of verified that there's something going on, but you just can't say what it was.
Absolutely something, exactly. Yeah. But, we
don't know
never did get anything other than that EMF.
Yeah. You don't know for sure if it's paranormal, if it's something, weird, but it's still, interesting.
Right. Exactly.
Something's going on. You just don't know what it is.
That's exactly right.
So
aside from that, of course, there was always my first investigation. And your first is always special to you.
I'm laughing because I know this story too.
Yeah. But there was actually some other story behind the funny part of the story.
Okay.
So my first investigation with the team didn't go so well. I think you kind of had an experience that didn't go so well for you either, Paul, but we both stuck it out and still we're here. So.
Well, it wasn't so much I didn't like the person I kept getting stuck with on every case. And I'll be like, really? Every case? Well, at the time, he was doing every case anyway, so it wasn't like I could avoid him, you know? So it was just like, oh, why is he doing everything?
Well, my first case, first of all, our previous case manager's name was Jean. Jean has since retired, which is why Mom is now doing case management. But let me tell you guys, all of you that are on the team now, thank your lucky stars that you did not have to pass the Jean test to get onto the team. Because
oh, Lord.
Jean was, I love Jean. Jean is great. She has a degree in metaphysics and she is awesome. I mean, she's really, really good at this, okay? But she is also she was the mother of the team. She's the one that kept us in line, made sure everybody behaved. I mean, it was, Jean's way or the highway. So at the time that I joined, which we've kind of gone back to it, you had to attend a meeting so that all the team members could meet you. And they would actually spend one-on-one time asking you questions at this meeting. And Jean would always ask you a question and talk to you, but she was looking for one specific answer. And if you did not give that one specific answer, her vote for you was a no to get on the team. What she wanted to hear you say, which is a good thing, okay? Don't get me wrong. Jean wanted to hear you say that the reason you want to do this is to help people. If you said anything about, oh, I want to see a ghost, or that was it, you're not on the team from Jean's point of view. If you did not say, I want to help people, you were not getting on this team. Mm-hmm. Well, Jean was going to be the lead on my first case. So I thought, oh boy, I got the tough lady on my case. And so then this was a local case for me. It was in Simpsonville, and I got partnered with the team farter. So anybody in the paranormal world knows that when you're conducting an EVP session, you've got to tag any kind of bodily noise that comes out, including the embarrassing fart. So I get stuck with this investigator. I'm not going to say his name. He's no longer on the team. But we get sent to the master bedroom. So we are sitting in the dark on a bed. And I'm like, okay, this is kind of weird, being in the dark on a bed and it's not my husband. So that was the first thing, just kind of out of my comfort zone. And then all of a sudden,
second nature.
Now it's second nature. But then all of a sudden I hear it. And
oh my,
there he goes. Tag for the voice recorder. I farted. Like,
oh
I
my
didn't know what that was.
Wow.
Usually it's my stomach growling. I mean, that was my stomach.
2 minutes later, here we go again.
Oh my.
So it come to find out, this is what he's known for on the team. He was the team farter, and I had got stuck with him. So that whole first night sitting in there, I think my entire voice recorder every few minutes was, I farted.
So it's kind of like a rite of passage to be done.
Oh, good Lord, yes. There should be some kind of rite of passage for all newbies, because that was the experience, I tell you.
Are we getting into hazing now? Is this legal?
Why not? I mean, come on, for fraternities and sororities do hazing, so, come on.
We tried to get Hank at the Crime and Punishment Museum, but none of it ever worked.
I know.
No.
We try. Well, I think that pranks are fun. I mean, when we're not on a residential investigation helping a client, as long as it is a team trip or something for fun, I absolutely am a huge fan of pranking.
Yes.
9 out of 10 times, because Paul is the butt of my pranks. But
well, sometimes Sometimes it's just random things that scare me, and it's not anything from the like that one time we walked past the camera and I waved at it, and Sydney came over the walkie-talkie and said hello, and I jumped 10 feet. That was
or like when you were in Old South Pittsburgh Hospital and somebody had left a mask down in the basement.
That's the same place. That she did that at Old South Pittsburgh too, and that was right before we ran to the mask, so I was already adrenaline rushing.
I did not hear about that one.
Yeah, it was right before we found that mask, because her and Ashley were upstairs, and it was me, you, and I think Darlene, or was Ashley with us?
I'm not sure.
Somebody else was with us, and I know Sydney was watching the DVR with somebody else. I know I jumped 10 feet twice within 10 minutes of each other.
It's great. I love it.
That
Absolutely.
Mask, whoever put that mask there is a son of a bitch.
Hopefully they're listening.
Yeah, hopefully they're listening. You specifically.
That is amazing.
But that was the same team trip where the very next day we ended up going to Chattanooga because the person that was managing, or mismanaging, I should say, Old South Pittsburgh Hospital had messed up and double booked and had booked an electrician or something or other. And so we didn't get to stay our second night. So we went to Chattanooga and found like a ghost tour, which was interesting. I mean, I'm glad we did because we got to see some historical stuff about Chattanooga. But we stayed in a little cabin. And for anybody that doesn't know, Paul does not like our piece of equipment called Creepy Baby. And I think in your podcast with Melanie that Bill actually talked about Creepy Baby too, because Bill really doesn't care for it either. And I think it scared him one night in their investigation.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so Paul doesn't like Creepy Baby. So Paul's upstairs asleep. So Angie has to climb up the stairs and put the Creepy Baby in the bed with Paul. And so we're all downstairs. We were just like waiting on you to wake up, and it was taking you forever to wake up. And we're downstairs drinking coffee, and finally you must have woken up and saw her on the pillow with you, and all we hear downstairs is, "Y'all bitches."
Because you are bitches.
But we're fun bitches.
You wouldn't have it any other way.
That's exactly right.
Something like that.
Oh my gosh. That's hilarious.
One day.
Yes, one day we're going to be paid back very badly, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I just haven't come up with a good plan yet.
Sure. Okay.
But going back to the serious side and talking about, all the cases I've been on, there's so many, I can't even think of them all. But, my number one thing, just like with Jean saying she wanted to hear somebody say that they wanted to help people. I mean, that is my number one priority when I'm on these cases. And I would say probably me more than anybody else. I mean, a lot of us on the team do become friends with our clients, but I would say I probably do it more than everybody else. I try to build a relationship with my clients, not just that night, but I want to know that, when we've left, we've given them the peace of mind to be able to live in their house and not be afraid. It's their house. I want them to be comfortable in their house. So, so many of them I have kept up a friendship with, it's mostly on social media, mostly on Facebook, but, I still touch base with them. I mean, I've got the client in Lugoff. I mean, it's been 3 or 4 years since her investigation, and she and I still talk so much on Facebook. And as a matter of fact, I think it was Friday, she shared to me that it was our friendiversary on Facebook. So, I don't know. We just have that connection, and I want to make sure that they're still okay. Not just for the night that I'm there. I want to make sure that things are good for them.
Yeah, I just was talking to a former client, the one in Somerville. The one I'm talking about. I was just talking to her today and yesterday. I randomly check in on her. So
exactly, and Paul, I think you should tell a little bit. Just tell a little bit about what you did for that client, because that just goes to show what our purpose is, what our mission is,
Yeah, so we had a client in Somerville. I think I may have talked about this before. I'm not sure.
You may have, but it's worthy of talking about again.
So I have investigated her. I've gotten really good evidence on her home, but that's not the only reason why I keep up with her, because she has 7 kids, so you kind of felt like, oh wow, she's got this, I wouldn't say a burden, but she has 7 mouths to feed plus herself and her husband's in a 3-bedroom duplex. The neighborhood is not a nice neighborhood whatsoever, but we got a lot of good evidence, and we went there. After the second time, I met the kids. I didn't meet the kids the first time. So like whenever we came to investigate, Mom sent the kids with the grandma, and at the end of the night they come back. So as we were wrapping up, Grandma brought the kids back, so I got to meet Grandma and the kids, and I was just like, wow, look at all these little kids. And I said, what better way of bringing in positive energy for a family who has been dealing with a haunting? I wouldn't say it was a demon or anything, but they say it wasn't necessarily nice. I never got any evidence that said it was, something bad, but I was like, what better way to bring cheer to this family who's scared? So I raised I think it was from October to December, I raised about $930. I think it was $936. No, it was over $900 for them for Christmas. And that's just one of the coolest things. I'm still proud of doing that.
Absolutely. And then you got the team involved. I think almost everybody on the team donated.
Yeah,
your
almost
family.
Everybody on the team at that time donated, yeah.
Yeah, your family, your friends.
Yeah, family and friends.
And the thing to me was, it's not just the fact, she had 7 kids, but she's working 2 jobs. This lady's doing all she could do, Yeah,
it wasn't like Mom wasn't doing anything for her family. If I thought that was the case, I wouldn't have done it.
Exactly.
So I was like, well, I'm going to ease the burden on her for Christmas this year. So.
And I actually was privileged enough to get to ride down with you when you presented that to her, and just the look of pure appreciation and joy on her face.
She cried.
It just makes it all worth it. It does.
Yeah, it does. And then I got pictures of them at Christmas time of them with all, because I remember when I gave her the money, the first thing she said to me is, I can actually get my kids what they want for Christmas this year. So. And
that's just an amazing feeling.
Yeah.
And that's how I always want it to be, as one of the members of the board of this team, that's how I always want it to be. I always want to be seeing that joy in people's face, that comfort, from us coming in and checking things out, or if they see a need that we can help them with, whatever.
Brings me to like last night's investigation.
Exactly.
I didn't get any evidence, but by the time we left there, and after we had talked to him and we had cleansed his house and we had reassured him on some things, he was a different person when we left there last night.
He was.
Because when we started the investigation, you need to go back and look on the DVR. Where he's on camera, one of them, he's sitting there, you can tell he is freaked out.
Yes.
By the time we left, he is like cool as a cucumber.
Yeah, he was.
And today I felt, here lately I've just been feeling that. Like, life sucks here lately is what I've been thinking. I lost my dog a few weeks ago, and then a whole bunch of other crap. But then this morning I woke up feeling good for the first time, and I was like, I made someone feel better last night, so I feel better today.
Right, exactly.
So
it's good for the soul. That's what I told you earlier.
Yeah, I feel a whole lot better than I have in the last couple of weeks. So I was like, this is, and I haven't been able to investigate that much lately either because of my job. So I was like, I need to get back. I need to be able to get out there and investigate when I want to investigate, because it is good for me. It's good for me.
Of course, we're looking for the stuff that's paranormal. Because that is the thrill of it. But the number one purpose is, just like that guy last night, making him feel good about being in his house again.
Yeah.
Giving him the power to be there and to take control.
Well, I didn't even like some of the stuff he was saying while we were there. I was like, well, he's not a pushover, because you have some of these clients that are like definitely afraid, And he was afraid, but he wasn't going to like take it either.
That's right. He was taking no crap.
Exactly.
He was great. That's awesome.
Yes, he was a really nice guy to us. He was very grateful because he like told us like multiple times all before he left that he was happy. He thanked us, we thank him.
I know. Then he'd thank us again. Then we all hugged a little.
Yeah.
And it's just a happy feeling.
Yeah.
You know, there's not many times in my life that I can help somebody. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I'm not rich by any means. I can give a couple dollars here and there. But this is the one thing that I feel like I can do and give something to somebody and give them peace.
Right.
I agree.
And sometimes all they're looking for is the validation that they're not crazy, that, you know, they're okay.
Exactly. 9 out of 10 times I would say that's it. Because, you know, the first thing most people are going to tell you when they call and want our services is, I know this sounds crazy, but well, no, to me, it doesn't sound crazy. Right. I believe you. You know, you don't have to worry about sounding crazy to me because I believe you.
Right. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in here.
Exactly.
So, Angie, out of all the equipment, what is your favorite?
I really think it's a tie between my voice recorder and the K2. Because most of my evidence I've gotten through EVP. Very, very few times have I gotten photographic or video evidence. Although the one time I did get video evidence, it was really, really good.
Yeah.
But, you know, for the most part, for 90% of the cases, I get my evidence on my voice recorder. It's an EVP. And then my K2, just because it is something visual that I can see right then. You know, especially if you've done a good job doing an initial walkthrough and you know that there's no weird EMF going on in the house. And then you're sitting there and you're asking yes or no questions and you're getting that K2 to go off. It's really cool to me that I can actually see that it's responding at that moment. You know, it's not something I have to wait and go home and listen back to. It's something I can see right then.
Yeah.
It's tangible.
That's pretty cool. We like to hear what everybody's piece of equipment, what they like the most. And Paul, you just got a new piece of equipment last night. How did that go?
So I'm still learning how to use it, but from what I'm understanding, this is how I would use it going forward. I would have 2 recorders. I'd have the recorder with I can't even pronounce the name of this thing, but what it does is it basically cancels out any like extra noise and stuff like that. I was done reviewing in like minutes because all you do is look for spikes.
So does it cancel out, like when I was asking questions last night, does it cancel that out?
Yes, it cancels all that out. So what I would do going forward is I would use 2 recorders. Like I'd make sure there's 2 recorders in the room. That's what I would do.
Which we typically have, so that's okay.
Just so you can verify. So basically I went through, so once I plugged it in, everything, it looks like it doesn't record anything. It's like flatlined. And you just look for spikes. And so I went and looked through all the spikes, and what it sounded like to me was someone moving the recorder, because we did move it a few times.
Right.
So I just threw it all out. And
So it's kind of like they're listening for the white noise. Kind
of, yeah. You're listening. It's basically, it's some kind of mic. I don't know how to explain this thing. Okay, so it's
kind of like a boom mic.
Kind of, but you don't hear anything. So you didn't even hear us talking. So it's only supposed to pick up like EVPs on it.
Well, what about what's coming through on the spirit box?
No, I didn't hear any of that.
So it does not pick up. But that's what I don't know how to.
Yeah.
At one point last night, I did think I heard a name come through the spirit box.
Mm-hmm.
But that was like the only time I thought so I guess I'm trying to figure out how it would differentiate between the investigator asking the question versus the name coming through the spirit box.
What this thing does, I think, is it makes the EVP clearer so you can find it easier and everything. But I think that's why you would need 2 recorders so that you'd have the question that was asked and then the response. You know what I mean?
Oh, and I wonder if maybe that would be a tool better used without the spirit box.
Yes, I would probably use it without the spirit box. Unless it's one of those like fancy spirit boxes that they make now that you can record to itself, you know what I mean?
Right.
Even then, I wasn't even sure if I would use it for that. But I really want to test this thing out really good at St. Albans.
Well, we want to test it out before St. Albans so we know how to use it properly at St. Albans.
Yeah,
Right,
so
right.
I am testing it, but I feel like that's going to be like the real test for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I do think it might be a good idea to make a mental note that maybe it's not the best thing to use with the spirit box because of, like I was saying, how would you know?
Like
if it's canceling out like my voice, how would it know my voice from a voice coming through the spirit box? Now I know like a pure EVP. Okay, fine. That's coming out of the blue. So,
but I'm going to try and pronounce this. I'm terrible at reading. So, a radive.
Spell it.
Raudive, Mike.
Raudive. Okay.
Yeah.
So where did you find this, or how did you hear about it?
Well, I heard about it on Joel and Michael's podcast.
Okay.
Paranormal Night Stalker. They had the guy on there, so I was like, okay. And I kept looking at him, and I've asked a couple of people questions about it that's used it, and I was like, I'm just going to go ahead and get one and see if I can figure it out. I still don't totally haven't figured it out yet, but I'm going to get there.
Cool.
Well,
we got plenty of time.
Yeah, and last night was a good place to test it out anyway, because it was the home was so small, and there was 3 or 4 recorders going in there, so we would have caught everything anyway. So last night was the perfect place to do it.
So did you purchase it through the guy that was on their podcast?
Yeah, he actually has an eBay store. If you go to Paranormal Investigation Equipment, it's our Pi. He also is called the Pi Guy.
Okay.
So let me see if I can find his eBay store real quick.
Now, Angie.
Yes.
Question.
It does look smaller in real life than it does on the picture, just saying. That's what she said.
Okay, Angie, out of 5 places, what are your top 5 places that you would want to investigate? Not counting the ones you already been to.
Okay. Trans-Allegheny, number
Gotcha.
1. But pretty close second, Waverly.
Mm-hmm.
Eastern State Penitentiary.
Okay.
Is number 3. I would love to investigate the Winchester House.
Okay.
I've actually been on a tour there, but at the time that I went on the tour there, it was with my grandmother and my children, and it was literally just a house tour. Although, Mom just watched the movie Winchester last night, and she was talking with me about it this morning, and I said, that would kind of be a kind of dangerous place to investigate if you're really doing it in the dark, though. You kind of open a door and you step through and you just crash to the bottom because it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And Alcatraz. I would love to go to Alcatraz.
Yes. Oh.
So those would be my top 5.
So guess what
Very
I found
nice.
though
Top
trying
fives.
to guess what I just found trying to find that guy's eBay store. See how easy it was to find it. That pyramid that we have,
really?
that no one else uses. Guess how much it sells now?
Oh, that thing is aggravating to me.
I don't use it very often, but it's $109 on eBay.
Wow. No thanks.
Yeah, I passed it.
All it does for me is beep all the time. I mean, I know it would be beneficial if it, I don't know if
it picks up the wall. That's why I don't like it.
I don't know if it acted properly, it would be good because it tells you which side EMF is supposedly coming from. So that's cool. But for me, I mean, every time I turn it on, it just beeps the entire time, and I'm ready to throw it out the window.
So his seller name on eBay that sells the thing is just para_equip. So it's para_EQUIP.
Okay.
That's what it's under on his eBay store.
Interesting.
Well, I love trying experimental equipment because, I mean, after all, this whole field is nothing but experimental and research. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Why not?
And it was only $25 too. So this was the guy I was telling you about that tried to get his show on get this thing on Ghost Adventures, and they wanted to charge him $5,000 an episode. Said it wasn't worth it. And he said he had to sell like 1 million of them for it to be worth it.
Wow.
So.
Speaking of Ghost Adventures, Angie, the episode when they did the domes?
The Domes. I don't know if I saw the domes.
The domes with the devil worshipping and all that in Arizona.
I don't think I saw that one.
It was on last night, right before the new episode.
Oh, was it where they were talking about the pentagram of blood or something?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
When
I didn't
they're-
watch it. I started watching it, and I have to be honest, I fell asleep.
I'd fall asleep too.
No.
Well, them domes are
It's
actually
interesting to watch these things, Paul, just for the
Yes.
places. I mean, honestly.
I know. I just like giving Zach Bagans hell. That's all.
You can give him all the hell you want, but honestly, you get some really cool ideas of places to go.
You really
Yeah.
do. Well, them domes are actually in the town that I'm moving into, where my son is,
Oh.
in Casa Grande, Arizona.
Mhm.
They're in that town, so when I go visit my son, I'm going to go check them out.
Hey, I wonder how far
You need to do like
that
an
town-
Arizona tour.
Well, I wonder how far that town is from where our former teammate Kristen lives, because she moved to Arizona. So
Whereabouts in Arizona?
I don't know. I will find out. But we still call her an honorary team member too, because we loved
Right.
Kristen, and her moving her husband was in the military. They were stationed
Okay.
in Charleston when he got out and became a civilian. Took a job in Arizona. So, we didn't hold that against her, and she's still an honorary team member. But
Right.
I bet, like anything, that if it's anywhere close, she would love to go with you if you wanted a buddy to go with.
Absolutely. If she's around the Phoenix or Tucson area, which is like where I'm going is right in between them. I'm like an hour away from Phoenix and an hour away from Tucson.
Okay.
So I'm like right in between them two cities.
I am wanting to say Kristen is in the Phoenix area.
I'm closer to Phoenix than Tucson, but I'm like right in the middle of them too.
Well, she's on our private Facebook page, so you ought to hook up with her on there and
Yeah,
y'all go
definitely.
check it out.
Definitely. I mean, more than happy to. Still,
She
keep
would
me going on.
absolutely love it.
You need to go to some places and do some tours and find some history so I can talk to you about it next time.
There is a bunch of places in Arizona where I want to go.
Now,
I've already got them mapped out.
Well, we also probably need to tell people, you were planning on going to New York and that didn't work out. So you're planning on going to Arizona now.
Yeah,
Because
going
on
to
the
Arizona.
Last episode we did tell people you were going to New York, but you were going to still do the podcast. So she no longer is going to New York.
No, New York. Now I'm going to Arizona, visit my son for a little bit. And then when I come back, I'll be in the Myrtle Beach area.
I'm just glad you're back in South Carolina.
I just paid for my team trip, so I will be in St. Albans.
Awesome. Well,
And we're
yeah,
gonna go-
you should definitely hook up with Kristen, and then you guys can do a podcast and have Kristen, and you and Kristen can talk about your adventures at these mounds or whatever.
That'd be cool.
Absolutely.
And then we're gonna definitely do a podcast at St. Albans.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I think we should do a live one while we're there. In
that
a
would
way,
be so cool.
I have to figure out how to do it. I have to talk to Joel because I know they can.
I have my laptop, so we can all gather around the laptop and do it. And I have Audacity too, so
Yeah. I have. Oh, you mean like there? Yeah. I thought you
Yeah.
meant like a live broadcast online or something.
No, we're gonna do that on Facebook. But I'm just saying, do a
A podcast, yeah.
I have-
podcast episode while we're there.
I have a laptop now too. Where I'm on a new computer today.
Woohoo!
The
I
first
think that'd be really cool, because then lots of people from the team could talk about what they're experiencing while we're there.
Exactly. We can do probably one a day. Like, all right, this is what's going on today.
Yeah.
And then because we'll be
We could
there
probably turn that
Friday, Saturday
2
night.
episodes.
So,
I'm
right.
so excited. I can't wait.
I know.
We'll be there Friday night and Saturday night, leaving out Sunday morning. So,
Yeah.
yep.
It's 2 months from today.
I
It is
know.
2 months
I'm
today.
super excited. Super excited. Super excited.
Mine's already paid off, and I'm happy I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Mine's
The
paid off.
countdown is on.
Now,
Mine's
like
paid
last
off.
night, last night were discussing how we were, like me and Brandon were discussing who was going to ride with who and how we were going to make this work. Because I was like, I've already learned I can only take equipment, me, my stuff, and one other person's stuff. So
Pretty much.
And by the way, if he's listening, we're still trying to talk Sean into going.
Sean will listen, because I know he listens to us and he listens to the Paranormal Night Stalker with Joel and Michael. I know. Oh, he listens to John Stamey, Lizardman guy.
Yeah.
He listens to him too. So.
Okay. Well, Sean England, you still need to go. Yes.
We've already told you can be late to get there.
Yep.
You don't have to be there when we get there.
That's
And
right.
I think last count, Carolyn, if I'm correct, I think we had 15 that are going, and so that means we've got 5.
Okay,
available slots.
there's people that I don't know about then.
Okay.
Because the last time I knew, we had exactly 10 people because of those that dropped out. So last time I knew. So
And then some of our newbies at our last meeting signed up to go. So
did they put in their deposits?
Yes.
and everything?
Matter
Okay.
of fact, Charlotte has paid in full.
Nice.
So anyway, I'll send you my updated list.
Okay.
But
we had another.
if any team members are listening, I think there's only 5 spots left. So
Yep.
I know the newbie we had last night. Jane is what she wanted to be called.
Jane, yes.
Okay. Jane was saying maybe, so she had to look at something. So
Yeah.
Well,
She was
they have to
good.
hurry up and get their stuff in, because we've only got till the 19th of next month.
Yep. They've got 1 month, so
Yep.
Yep. And I'm doing.
And I'm actually flying in to Charlotte, and then I'm on a Thursday. I'll be flying in, and then I'm flying back out probably that Monday.
Mhm. Oh,
So-
when you come back, from Arizona.
Well, I'll probably still be there at that time, so I'm flying back and then flying back to Arizona.
Oh, you're gonna
So-
stay in Arizona for a little while.
Yeah, I'll probably be back here about July, September.
Oh, okay. So you're doing an extended visit. I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool. I mean, why? If you got to do it. You know what I mean?
that's right.
I'm just gonna find a little part-time job out there, save up money and all that. So when I come back, I'll be square, and
Word.
that way I can get back into everything again.
Cool.
Awesome. I've never been to Phoenix. Let me know how hot it is.
It's
It's
hot.
the desert. It's hot.
Exactly. It's
Why-
already like 80 degrees over there.
I was talking about moving out there. I was like, have you lost your mind? I'm redheaded. We don't do well in places like that.
But it's a dry heat, though.
Yeah,
so.
you don't have all the humidity.
Yeah, but there's no
Right.
trees either for me to hide under.
You got them big old cactuses you can stand in there. Them
No.
cactuses are like 6 to 8 feet, so you can jump from one
Just-
shadow to another.
Just don't rub up against them, Paul.
No,
That's
I'm
right.
good. I'm good. I need mountains. I don't need desert.
Don't be a cactus hugger.
No. I'm not
That
that
can
big.
be quite painful.
Right?
I am not that big of a hippie. I don't need that. Are we doing this every week now? Might as well throw Angie in here.
Might as well. I'm down with it. And we can get a whole bunch of people on here. One of these days, we still got to do our drunk episode.
Oh Lord. Well, how about
Yeah,
this?
The only bad thing with that is that all of our team likes to talk, so it's like everybody tries to talk at once. So
But that's going to be so great, though,
How about this?
in a way.
We'll do the drunk episode when you come back. How about that?
Sounds good.
yeah,
you
that's
come
the
back.
plan.
You come back to SoundCloud. We'll do drunk episode, and then we'll do it. We'll have to get a couple of us in a room, so I don't have to call like 6 people on Skype and worry about it disconnecting.
I think
We'll
we'll just have to
figure
go to
something out.
Melanie's.
That works.
That sounds good. I'm down with it. I'm down
Sorry,
with it.
Melanie, I just volunteered your house.
Melanie probably don't care.
She probably don't, but you
To
know,
be like,
some-
come on, bring them on, come on.
I love Melanie. She's great.
Hey, this team works hard, but we party harder.
That's right.
That's right.
When
Yes.
we do get to party, like what, once a year, twice a year, maybe we have a party.
Just a couple times.
It's about time we have. I think we need to have a pregame before the Halloween party. Just say.
Because I mean,
Well-
it's crazy because like right now we're booked through May. I mean,
This is true.
it's like wow.
And you want to do that public investigation too. So we need to figure out when to do that so we can go ahead and schedule that in the books before we start scheduling clients.
What
You know what I
public
mean?
Oh, the public
investigation?
ghost. You're talking about at Poinsett Bridge or something.
Yeah. So
Yeah, Carolyn. So I was telling Paul, I guess last night, that we have so many people on our fan page on Facebook that want to tag along on investigations with us when I post our events and stuff.
Right.
And obviously, we can't take people on the residential investigations. But so I was thinking about doing something like a public ghost hunt, somewhere like Poinsett Bridge, somewhere that's known to have some activity, to where some of our fans could come and join us and just do a ghost hunt out there.
That's actually a really good idea.
mhm.
So they can kind of see what we do and, somewhat what
Yeah,
we do, even though we do residential,
most
but
of
it's still the
them-
same process.
Most of them, even, if they like this kind of stuff, I mean, they still don't have like equipment and whatever. So, I mean, they
Right.
could actually touch and hold our equipment and,
I think we
Right.
should take like 5 or 6 people. Like let 5 or 6. You don't want too many people out there because
Yeah.
Right.
So I say we let like 5 or 6 fans on Facebook come. Just the first 5 or whatever who tell us they're interested get to go, or maybe we could do a raffle or something, and then do that, and then like maybe 2 or 3 team members.
I think we should do
depending-
first come, first serve,
And depending on how many team members we get to volunteer, like, if we had just say we had everybody on the team to volunteer, so we had 20 something people,
Mhm.
if everybody could partner up with one public person, so
Right.
just depending on how many volunteers we have.
And if
Right.
I say we do it before it gets too hot, because you don't want me outside when it's hot.
Well, we can also look at doing fall, so who knows?
This is true, because I'll just whine the whole time.
Well, the whole thing is too, a lot of these people kind of want to go now, yeah, some want to wait, but why not just do a quickie one right now
We
if
got-
you can?
We could, but there again, we're booked through the first
first of
Saturday
May.
of May.
Yeah, but the whole thing is, this is a
We could do it a Friday night.
right.
We could do a Sunday afternoon because, I mean, there's no wrong or right time of day to look for a ghost.
I think most of them want
Contrary
to
to
do it at
popular belief.
nighttime though, in a way, because a lot of stuff is done at night. So they'll be like, well, it's not as creepy during the day as it is at night.
Yeah.
But I don't know
We
how
could do it
safe it would be to be at Old Poinsett Bridge.
Maybe
in
do
the
it at like
dark.
dusk or whatever, like,
Yeah, dusk would be great.
where it's just kind of getting there.
Yep, like
Not
right
full-
now, about this time.
Right.
Because, in the woods, it's starting to get a little dark and the sun is setting.
Yeah, there aren't a whole
Maybe
lot of lights.
maybe from like 6 to 8 or something.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah, because it's not a big area to investigate, so just take a couple of people and take some equipment. You can probably
Right.
cover the area really quick.
And I think we should start out with a small group just to see how it would be. If it's something that we want to do again, if it was a good success, do it again. If not, then just kind of leave it as a one-time thing because it didn't turn out too well.
Yeah.
Yep, agreed.
So
Get on it.
that would be kind of cool.
Take some of our fans.
Yep, it's a suggestion. Anybody's got free for a Friday night, do it on a Friday night.
Yeah, that would work.
Maybe pick a local area where, you guys aren't driving up 10 hours, to get to it. That's kind of like in between everyone.
There's an area out here I'm about to go check out and see if we can get down there. We could do one down there too on Old State Road, but I don't know if it's accessible at the moment because the last time I tried to go down it, you couldn't get very far. So.
Right.
Because part of it's permanently closed off, but the rest of it's not. But they were doing some kind of work down there, and you couldn't get through there at one point. So.
But it's a suggestion, something to look into.
Yep. Absolutely.
Get some of our listeners, even some of our listeners may go on there and be like, word of mouth is like, oh my God, you guys should go check out this group. I went with them. It was pretty cool. So that also will help us out as too.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm down.
Me too.
2 thumbs up. Zang.
So does anybody have anything else they want to add?
I don't think so.
I think I'm good.
So if you are listening through us through some random webpage or something and you want to be able to find us again to listen to us, you can download us on just about any place that has podcasts, Apple, Spotify. I believe we'll be on iHeartRadio soon. We're not there yet. Radio Public. There's a whole list of places. So if you just search SCPRAI podcast, you'll find us. If you would like to request an investigation, please do so by going to our website at www.scprai.org and fill out the request an investigation form. And Darlene, our case manager, if she doesn't call us, one of us will, because sometimes we even have to call. We also, coming up, we have a flea market fundraiser where we'll be selling off people's junk at the Barnyard Flea Market in Lexington. So come out, even if you don't buy anything, just come out and tell us hello, and you can come meet some of us and learn more about what we do, because we can answer some questions out there too if you have any questions. Also, if you have any questions, you can email me or email Carol and I. She both has the password, is at scpraipodcast@gmail.com. Is that everything?
Yep.
All right. Thank y'all for tuning in. We'll talk to you later.
Bye, y'all.
All right. Bye.
Disclaimer. Any names and locations have been changed to protect our client's identity unless it's a public place that allows public investigations. Any evidence we talk about on our podcast, website, or presentation, SCPRAI has been given written permission to do so by the client. Thanks for listening. This is the South Carolina Paranormal Research and Investigations Podcast with your host, Paul
and Carolyn. We are a ghost hunting group that investigates the Palmetto State.